far as the execution specifically when it comes to the bada boom, but overall, that's to be expected with any new hero.
Yeah, absolutely, and they're going to take a little bit to try and figure this out, get those ultimates on point. We've seen a couple times where new heroes, there's some good play, but then after a couple weeks, all of a sudden you start to see one or two players really just get a grasp of them. I think Lance was one of the big examples of that when he first came out. I think Tony's going to be very similar in that regard. With the Samuel pick here, they are leaving this Krull open. So Celeste Krull could be a combo to come through, but it's actually going to be a little bit of a switch up, going for the Rona instead. A lot of times we see a team pick the Krull, ban Rona. Now we could see the pick the Rona, ban the Krull.
Yeah, it's got to just be when it comes down to comfort pick, whoever the jungler is on Tilt Rehab feels much more comfortable with his hands on the Rona. Nova now 2 games in a row. We have seen phenomenal Samuel play. Last game we had at a Chuck. First series was at a Lightning T. Nova Esports, if that is in either starting all overs hands or Truth-Lights in the mid lane's hands, I fully expect that to be a huge source of damage. And whenever Tony throws out his taunt ability, that is going to group up enemies. That is going to make it really easy for those Malice and Verix to deal a massive amount of burst damage.
We saw it in the last game where Tony would throw out the taunt, and it would be right as a forward barrage came out from Sky, just forces the enemy to stand in that forward barrage and eat all of that damage. So there's a lot of combos that can be built off of that taunt. I think that's one of the things that we talk about the bada bing all the time. We don't really talk about the combos that can be set up just using the taunt coming out of Tony. And I think that's actually one of the most important things about his kit, because that's obviously going to be available a lot more frequently than the bada bing is.
Absolutely, and very underrated. Nova Esports picking up that Vox kit, both Truth and starting again. Phenomenal Vox players. They really, both of them have very deep hero pools where they can execute both of them however they see best fit. Going to be interesting. It's also a very hero that can kite Rona well, especially with that mortal wound on the poison shiv. However, it could struggle up against the range out of the Celeste. And again, we still have not seen the Crystal Power Vox yet. Could be something that if Tilt Rehab grabs enough melee heroes, that Nova Esports might opt for.
You don't even necessarily need to have all those melee heroes. You have a Rona and a Churnwalker. Those two are very durable. You start bouncing your attacks over there. There's a Krull as well. This is actually looking like a Crystal Vox game, right? I mean, it just makes sense to me looking at what Tilt Rehab has drafted. A Crystal Vox, you have multiple targets you can just bounce your shots off of, get those resonance bounces, and just start tearing through your opponent's health.
Yeah, the biggest thing, though, is typically we've always seen Samuel played in the mid lane. I'm not sure I've seen a Crystal Power Vox played in one of those side lanes. Most likely it's going to be the bot lane. So for me, it is going to typically trend towards that Weapon Power Vox in this matchup, but ultimately definitely an option that they can go for. Picking up a Lance, not a captain I believe we've seen utilized on the Sovereign's Rise thus far.
We have not seen a Lance at all thus far.
But yeah, with all the walls on the Sovereign's Rise, definitely going to make those Githian walls so strong, and that amount of crowd control is something that Tilt Rehab is going to have to watch out for, and it's a great counter to Krull especially.
Yeah, absolutely. Krull and Rona too, being able to slam her into a wall when she starts spinning with the red mist. You cancel out that ultimate, you cancel out so much of what Rona's trying to do. And again, if you can just use that Lance to group everyone else up, the resonance bounces, even if you're a weapon Vox, those resonance bounces can still start to do some serious work in the middle of a team fight. So I think they're really synergizing quite well, Nova, with their composition, whereas on Tilt Rehab, it's just a lot of kind of brawling with Celeste. Whereas Nova, like everyone there, you can kind of see how they work together to build a cohesive unit with those 4 picks.
Tilt Rehab taking Sky off the table. I really like that ban. North America seems much more comfortable with the Sky gameplay. She would be such a good counter pick here if Nova were to grab her. She can kite all of those melee heroes. She can dance around the Heliogenesis coming out of Celeste. So I really like that. And it's definitely going to make it an interesting pick for Nova, seeming like they're struggling, figuring out what exactly they want to go with, taking the Adagio off the table.
I feel like Tilt Rehab, if they don't take a Baptiste here, and they allow Nova to take Baptiste, that is a devastating composition that Nova will have specifically against Tilt Rehab's comp. So it's one of those situations where you may not want the Baptiste in this composition because it's again doesn't really gel super hard with the rest of what they have. But letting that go over to Nova, I think, is just super, super risky.
Definitely agree. They do go with the Idris though. So Baptiste An option here for Nova, it'll be hard to tell. I would assume that it's probably going to be a Batiste jungle, and they would end up laning the Tony. We did see that for the first time today over in the side of Europe with Nova having the Lance. That's something you could definitely do. However, with Lone Delphi being on Nova, he is actually known for his carry Lance. So that's something we could potentially see in the jungle. I know that that's something that he's very comfortable on, but they are going to go for the Black Feather instead.
I'm not crazy about the Black Feather pick there unless they go for the Crystal Black Feather, because you're going to be going into melee against a Kroll, Rona, Churnwalker. Like, you're not going to come out on top in that situation when the team fights start up unless everyone else gets split. I think they had such a strong AoE composition being built up, and going away from that for their final pick, I would have liked to have seen them really just commit all in to the AoE comp that they had. We'll see if it works out for them, but obviously if they aren't successful here, that's going to be something we're going to be questioning.
Absolutely.
Look forward to the guys tearing them apart. Okay, picks are in, but before we dive further into what those selections mean, I would love to get a player to watch from both of you so we can keep an eye on them during the whole match. Bacon, why don't we start with Equinox Esports?
Yeah, this game coming up, it's just, there's a lot of options, once again, for a player to watch. And as we go into it, for Tilt Rehab, I wanted to see what Jazzville was going to be able to bring to the table after yesterday, didn't really perform all that well. And it's actually going to be subbed out this game. So we talked about how we might be seeing that after the first week, but Tilt Rehab, they're making that change right away. So Jazzville not going to be in this game. Obviously, again, preseason, you want to try things out. You want to shake things up. You want to figure out what combo works best for your team. So this is very likely just them trying something new just to see, where their best synergy lies.
Flash, what about your pick for Salty Potatoes?
Yeah, it's got to be Lone Delphi for the size of Nova Esports. He's a veteran in the scene. He's been around the block many, many times. He's very good, very mechanically skilled. I'll be interested to see what hero Nova ends up placing him on, but you definitely have to watch out for Delphi. He's a monster coming out of the jungle.
Yeah, this is one that he's always been very steady coming out of the jungle. Whatever team he's been on, he's been kind of like a consistent performance. We've always been waiting for him to step up and become this hard carry. That may just not be what happens. He may just be this guy that just stays steady, stays consistent at all times. And sometimes that's what you need on a team, especially in 5v5. That can be a great help to a team, because the super hard carry players, if they're not on their game, it just really can be detrimental to the team. But if you have a guy who's just consistent at all times, you know what you're going to get, it allows those star players to shine.
All right, looks like they are ready to get going, so let's get straight into that game.
All right, here we go, Dragonborn, the final game of the first week of the VPL Preseason Invitational. Cannot wait to get this underway. Tilt Rehab going head-to-head against Nova Esports.
I always kind of get lost and starry-eyed when we pull away from the map. It's just an absolute gorgeous map. I know it's been said a billion times over. But we are getting some early jungle aggression coming out of Tilt Rehab right now as Nova looking just to secure their Crystal Orb. Rehab saying, nuh-uh, we're taking that one away, as they do steal it away.
Yeah, the buff isn't going to be super useful for Rona in the early game, but it's all about just making sure that your opponents don't end up with that buff themselves. Plus, the 100 gold, a little bit of extra experience never hurts either. And so they're going to be getting that early advantage. And so for now, we'll see if they're going to be going back, contesting their own buffs. Where's everyone going to end up? We had some questions during the draft over who was going to be playing or what heroes were going to be in what roles. And now we're going to start to see that shape out.
Interesting. Malachi building that crystal bit early. We typically don't see that. Sometimes they'll build either utility or defense to, if anything, hide what they plan to build. Because when you look at Tilt Rehab's composition, they absolutely could go a couple of different ways. You've got a Cruel here, but if they do go with the Crystal, that would make sense to be balanced. We have seen some triple melee compositions coming out here. It's definitely something I expect to see occur possibly down the meta road someday.
Yeah, well, right now, it's going to be pretty even. Start this one off. No one found an early advantage in that first skirmish. We've seen, sometimes a team gets that first blood and starts all of a sudden carrying that momentum through. They steal away a bunch of the jungle. They start to find a few more kills. Ali Peterson on this Churnwalker are going to be getting some good damage share out onto the members of Nova here in mid. We have 3 members from each team in mid, so we could potentially be getting a skirmish, but I think Archaic and Delphi just going to be kind of checking out what's going on and then moving on. Both of them going up towards the top, but Delphi obviously there much earlier. He did get spotted out by a scout cam along the way, and so Maokai just goes down into his jungle, starts clearing that out. Delphi tries to steal it away, gets it with the taunt. Nice timing there by Delphi.
Yeah, interesting to see Tilt Rehab have the 3 men down the mid for so long. Mid is very, very important in the early game.
Oh,
we see
nice
a lot
Githian wall, stopping Esmai from getting onto his target, but only temporarily. Esmai follows on through and finds that kill with Rona. First blood going to Tilt Rehab.
Nice pickup there as they start to get a little bit of a gold lead here early. Tilt Rehab, this roster that a lot of people have talked about during the preseason, or leading up to the preseason, Tasty, that these guys have been practicing, putting a lot of time. These are not new faces to the Vainglory competitive scene. These guys have been playing Vainglory for a long, long time and looking to come in here and make a big statement. It would be a huge statement if they could take a game off of Nova.
Yeah, and not many of them have that top-level experience, but they do have plenty of competitive experience, like you said, in challengers, in other events. And, we've talked a lot about how 5v5 offers new opportunities for players to get involved in the competitive scene because of the roster slots that are now open. Sino is one of those guys he's been around in Vainglory in the community for so long. We actually got to see him at a community event in New York right before Worlds happened. And now here he is competing in the VPL in the preseason. So, again, an opportunity for someone who's been around for so long, finally has that chance to really make his name a household name.
Looks like some action up on top there. Tony, it's Idris that goes down. Vox picks up the kill. So a little bit of crazy action going up there. With the Tony support backing up, it's going to be that utility-based carry Tony that I don't think we've seen a whole lot of.
Yeah, mostly when we see the Tony, it's in the captain role. I think we've seen once, maybe twice, that we saw him as a carry. I know we did get a chance to see it earlier today from Wolves Esports, but it didn't have the success there. But has the Storm Crown already completed? Esme is going to be in some trouble, but doesn't have that red mist just yet. Now gets there, gets that level 6, gets the red mist, gets the fortified health, and stays alive to find the kill. Esme, great play with the help of his teammates and a clutch level up.
Oh my goodness, the only complaint, maybe Sino could have given Esme that healing tree right at the end, but I thought he was going down. Very low health, gets rooted, but uses that red mist to get the fortified health like you just mentioned to get that sustain, and they turned it around even against the Samuel. The Samuel was level 3, I think, at that point. He absolutely could have been doing more. I'm surprised we didn't see Starting Goal over turn that fight at that moment.
Yeah, it's one of those things where we've kind of grown to expect Starting Goal over to turn around those fights. It's not an easy situation whatsoever, but when you make plays like that so frequently in your passes, it's almost, like you said, surprising that he doesn't end up coming out on top of a detrimental situation. But now, as we go up into this top lane, you see Nova going to be shoving down this turret. They're going to be able to get that, but now Archaic and Ali Peterson are here to try and make them pay. Eco coming in late as well just to try and help his teammates. He's going to help at least Delphi try and get out of here, but will they look to chase Eco down perhaps? It's a Lance. You don't want to go chasing a Lance around. Very, very difficult to secure a kill on a Lance once he's running.
Delphi's out of there, able to completely get away from that aggression. Mid's pushing down really nicely. That's one thing that I think the Samuel can do early very effectively is push even into the Celeste. It's as we get to past the 8-minute mark, once that Celeste hits level 8, things become a little bit harder. Nice push in here.
Yeah, nice job securing that tree, and Bada Bing's going to split them up, but it splits them completely away, and Sino's able to have the time to throw a Solar Storm. So again,
slight hesitation too from Nova there. They should have just pick their target right away.
Yeah, instead it ends up being a kill for Tilt Rehab, looking for another one. Delphi's going to get that heal coming through to keep him alive. And he's going to have to be very careful. Eco will end up falling. Truth and starting all over, looking to do what they can. Ali Peterson's going to go very low, but can starting find the damage. Malisenberg's going out, can't quite get it around the minion to get that last hit needed. And so just like that, Tilt Rehab coming out way on top of this as Esme, after getting bada bing down towards the bottom lane, said, you know what, I'll just keep going and go take myself a turret. So great job by Tilt Rehab to capitalize on this situation.
And good, Rona, Esme doing a great job here. He's been pushing bot all day, all this whole time, and he's doing it right here, pushing it all the way to that next turret as he was able to secure one. But he might be sandwiched here between starting all over and Eco. He's actually just aggressively going in.
He's willing to go in. He's got teammates there to back him up if a fight does break out. And so Esme playing with no fear. We've seen this Rona get banned pretty frequently during the drafts this weekend. We're starting to see why. Truth going to try and make a play up here onto the Idris, and Idris has to use the ultimate.
Oh, no.
That's Maokai. He's going to be in trouble. Maokai will end up falling. Truth just outright 1v1ing him and winning that trade.
He tried to use it over the wall, but great job by Truth to actually kind of position himself just so he was out of range. He wouldn't have been able to jump right over the wall. And that's just a heads-up play by Truth, knowing that, hey, he's going to probably, like, moving away from the wall, not moving next to it.
And both Truth and Esme going for early infusions here, both of them with a level 8 infusion up. That's something we haven't really talked about much in 5v5 is infusions, but we're not going to get a chance to right now because that's a deletion taking down Delphi on the Tony. Starting all over, he's in trouble, but he's got that Drifting Dark going. He's healing up, sustaining on through, trying to get that AoE damage down. They nearly take out Ali Peterson. Can't quite find that kill. However, they're still looking for more Archaic. He's going to be in trouble, but so is Truth. Truth has to jump away. Lots of low health bars, but not too many kills coming as a result of this. Sino's still pretty healthy. You can drop some Helios, maybe look for a little more damage. Starting is in danger now. One more hit will do it, but Sino doesn't want to risk going underneath that turret, doesn't want to risk getting impaled underneath and stuck.
That level 8 Celeste is so much damage. We actually saw the damage coming out of her was so much that the team had to completely separate because they were all lumped together in that mid lane, and then they just started to realize, holy crap, these supernovas are going to destroy us.
Yeah, Truth was trying to push in that top turret and realized that he was going to be surrounded 3-on-1. Esme showing Truth kind of how the split push works there as he takes it down a turret by himself. Erica Kane does get the kill when all is said and done, but the turret is gone. There's only one turret remaining in the bottom lane for the side of Nova Esports.
Tilt Rehab with a surprising lead in objectives here. They take
he stole it with the Solar Storm. Sino grabbing himself a crystal buff from a long range. That's got to be a little upsetting if you're on the side of Nova Esports. It's small things like that that can really set you on tilt if you're not careful.
Really heads-up play from Sino this entire time. He has to be the player in this game who just, position-wise, keeps his head on straight. He brings so much damage. He cannot go down early. He needs his front line to protect him. I think Esme on this Rona has done a great job so far. Cruel as well. Archaic, they need to just protect him. Starting all over, going down against Samuel. That's what Samuel needs, is a good front line, and I think Lance could be that. But right now, Lance and Tony have not been able to keep starting all over alive. A lot of that starting needs to maybe be a little bit more cautious. That's another turret. So now all of your front row turrets are gone for Nova.
Yeah, Tilt Rehab doing a good job of pushing in these turrets when they have the opportunity. But like you said, focusing their targets, taking down starting all over, knowing that if they don't kill him, he's going to be able to turn fights around almost single-handedly. So they're putting a lot of focus onto taking Samuel out when they have the opportunity. Starting all over has not been able to have an impact in a team fight. You see 0-3-0 for his KDA. Though. Truth does finally get that turret, but again, this is the second or third time that he's just thrown himself at that top lane to try and take that turret down.
Well, he has to because he's got no one else there to push with him, so he wants the objective. And his team, honestly, being pushed somewhere else, you could take that kill. But now this allows Tilt Rehab to move down here and push the mid continuously, probably look for a fight, almost get Eco in that core collapse. There's a stun. So
pull him back with the chain. Solar Storm will rip on through and take Lance down. Starting all over, doing what he can. Erica Kane is here as well, has some good damage on this Black Feather. It is a Crystal Black Feather, one of the first CP Black Feathers that we have seen this weekend. But look at these Helios. She's getting placed all over the place, preventing Nova from being able to push past this turret. If they try and go past the turret, they're going to just eat a ton of damage from the Supernovas. They try and do so now, and you see Delphi just eating chunks of his health. Meanwhile, that turret is about to fall as well. Great job by Tilt Rehab, just putting this pressure on, not allowing room to breathe. There's another Solar Storm going to go on through the team. Delphi and Starting both very low, but not low enough to really be in too much danger as Tilt Rehab starts to back away.
But Tilt Rehab's going to be able to clear out their jungle. And as we approach the 15-minute mark, these fights, these kind of pushes where they can just push them back into their base, that's great. I mean, you're going to be able to open up the jungle and then take a Black Claw to finish off the game in the next few minutes. Unless Nova needs to find a way to stop that. They need to find a way to defend these lanes, yes, but they need to find a way to win these fights. And if they just maybe stall or turtle here for a little bit longer, as they get closer, they need to make a decision, though. They need to engage Rehab and try to catch Rehab out a little bit, catch it by surprise.
And Nova Esports with 4 turrets remaining compared to the 7 remaining from Tilt Rehab. They have only lost those 2 turrets that Truth has pushed down in the top lane. So there's not really going to be many opportunities. Like, even if Nova wins a team fight, they still have so much work to do to even this game back up. And Tilt Rehab, they have been the ones in control. They've been dictating where and when fights happen. And Erica Kane going to take a lot of damage courtesy of Esme, who has been on fire this game with this Rona. There's a Solar Storm going to go on through onto Erica Kane, trying to just get them low enough, make it so that they can't defend this turret. As obviously they really want to take this one down over the wall. It's a nice Githian wall stun. Going to stun up multiple targets. They finally take down Sino. That's going to be big. Can they look for any more, though, is the question. Still a lot of blue health in this fight. There goes Esme getting knocked over the wall courtesy of a Bada Bing. Archaic is about to fall. They do trade for one. They finally take down another. That's going to be a big cleanup from Tony. Esme, the final member standing, and it's an ace for Nova Esports.
This is a huge fight. We just talked about they need to win one of these fights. They just can't sit back alone because they're going to continually give up objectives and gold. Now they're looking at split pushing while also taking Ghostwing here, which I didn't know Tony could solo it, but he's got a lot of those items. He's got that Storm Crown that allows him to really handle these objectives like Ghostwing very easily. I love the fact Samuel, Blackfeather, all of them just split lanes. They immediately knew where they needed to go. They were able to push it up. They need to build themselves some room.
Waiting over the wall.
Right.
Gets the vision stolen away, but he can't get the Ghostwing as a result.
So close.
That was so important that Nova took out that vision, that scout cam, because if that scout cam is there, he knows exactly when to time it. As soon as the scout cam went down, he didn't know when to time that ultimate anymore, and so he ended up just throwing it a touch too early and couldn't quite get the steal.
Well, we're just about watching Blackclaw land. There, Blackclaw comes. The question now will be, you've got this Ghostwing buff, what can you do with it? I think that they've, even the lanes a little bit. I mean, they've pushed the lanes back. It's still on their side. Like, they still have they're kind of backed up a little bit, and they really haven't found a way to push Rehab back into their side of the jungle, on their side of the map yet. We'll see. This fight should be the one that decides that right here. With this buff, they should be able to just engage and go after Rehab.
Yeah, this is potentially a fight that could decide the game, depending on which way it goes and how much is taken afterwards. I mean, you see the kills are close to even now, but the gold is still very much in favor of Tilt Rehab, and that's what Nova's going to have to be careful of. You look at the infusions, a lot of level 10 infusions, 1 level 12 for Truth, a couple of level 9 infusions actually on the side of Tilt Rehab, and Sino does not have an infusion for himself. You see Archaic in this bottom lane. This should be the trigger for Nova to go in and try and force a fight, knowing that Kroll is nowhere close. And here we go, underneath the turret. They're going to be looking for Sino, trying to get that kill. He's staying alive a long time. That's a great trespass and a good Bada Bing, knocking Maokai out of the fight a little bit. But it's going to be Nova finding the first kill. They take Sino down. They do lose their Samuel, however, and this is just all going all in. The Kroll has joined the fight, and Eco and Erica Kane are both so low. Delphi just barely hanging on for a little longer, but he's going to end up falling, and it is now the Idris finding a triple kill. Erica Kane, last member standing from Nova. is going to be chased down by Maokai. Nice job dodging out that on point, and that could be a no. Erica Kane turns it around, finds the kill. It is now a 4-on-3. Even if Erica Kane goes down here, it's fine. There's nothing that Tilt Rehab can gain off of this. Erica Kane, because he got that kill onto Idris, that was absolutely huge.
No, that was a big play because you've got to keep in mind Ghost Swing. 3 guys, that could take a Ghost Swing. I'm sorry, a Black Claw even. But, you know, two members left. You have to Celeste is just going to go up and push lane. The lanes also have been pushed up for Nova Esports. That's really important now. They've balanced the game as far as where the creeps have moved so far in this map. And so they've given themselves breathing room at this point. But a very, very important fight. Honestly, Nova looked like they could win that fight, and then it started to turn back in favor of Tilt Rehab. So they didn't get quite what they wanted, but they could have been going. It could have gotten a lot worse.
Yeah, it absolutely could have been a lot worse. But it's, again, the fact that they almost went even on that fight. They made it a much closer fight than what we have seen thus far to this point.
Yeah, and in that fight, too, we didn't see really an effective use of the Bada Boom. I mean, it didn't seem like it separated the team in a way. We saw most of the stuns get blocked up in that game. There was a few missed impales by Eco that might have changed, turned it a little bit in favor. I think we saw Blackfeather kind of waiting up in the wings right at the very end. Lance missed his impale, wasn't able to get it. And then, of course, that just definitely sealed the deal. Blackfeather's like, all right, I'm not going into this.
Yeah, it's interesting to see where they're going to be moving. Looks like Nova wants to bring the fight down towards Ghostwing. But Tilt Rehab, they're starting to drift up towards the Black Claw. So both objectives available. So which one are you going to prioritize? Erica Kane is in the bottom lane. Tilt Rehab saw that. They're trying to just get vision control. This is what I think is the smartest decision here. Get vision control over this area. Know where your opponents are. Know what they're trying to do so that you can then make your decisions based on that information. Information is key. A big Solar Storm rips through the team. That's going to start the fight. They want to get another Solar Storm off at the end, but now are they going to survive long enough? Sino very healthy on the backside. Lots of damage being done. Eco is the first to fall, and that's going to be big. Having that Lance CC machine out of the equation, but Nova finding themselves a few kills as well. It is 3-2 in terms of kills. They're going to chase down and find the kill out to Ali Peterson. Can they take down Sino? He has no other escape tools available, and Nova Esports have turned this one on its head. 5 for 2 is the trade, and now Nova can start pushing.
Really important to talk about the Atlas Pauldrons in that fight because there were some really well-timed ones. A lot of blocks coming out, but some, I believe it was Esme on the Rona that got slowed. That's important because she's got that breaking point. I couldn't tell if Archaic got slowed as well, so I'll have to go back and watch that. But again, slowing down those heroes because they're all about sustain. If they're just a little bit slower in doing their damage, that helps you tremendously. Again, a lot of impressive plays. There's so much action. Can't even sort it all through it, but again, that's very important. We are seeing Atlas Pauldron still being used, still very important in certain circumstances here on the Rise.
And we do see, I mean, if you had told me 12 minutes ago, or 10 minutes ago, however long you want, that Nova Esports would have been the first team to destroy an armory in this game, I would not have believed you, but they get that middle armory down while all 3 of their inner turrets are still standing, Dragonborn.
This is interesting, though. They don't go for Blacklight. They didn't have enough time. I think pushing the objectives made sense, but now do they try to contest Ghostwing? The vision's important. I have to see if Nova recognize that they do. They get some vision down, so they're going to clear that out. If anything, just keeping it an uncertainty for Tilt Rehab is important in this matchup. And wow, this is going the distance, Tasty. Both these teams, these fights have been close every single time. This game is by far one of the closest games we've seen tonight.
I mean, the Slimy Salamanders and Vision Gaming was extremely close as well. This one is definitely right up there as well as we eclipse the 20-minute mark in this game. See Nova grouping up around this Ghostwing once again,
infusions as
trying
well.
to take control of the Vision. Pretty much everyone has infusions. I think Eco and actually there is no infusion on Archaic either on this Krull. So that's 2 members without infusions. Eco does get his infusion, only a level 9, still a bit behind the curve there on this Lance. As obviously been sharing experience across the board, but Nova looking like they want to try and push in aggressively. Going to use that Drifting Dark. Try and just scatter some damage. Scatter the members of Tilt Rehab. Who's going to pull the trigger first is the question.
This is interesting. Both teams being very cautious. It makes sense for how even it's been. The goal essentially is even. I mean, early on in these fights, It was Tilt Rehab that had the infusions. Now it's Nova. We'll see which one decides to pull the trigger here, because as Nova has the infusion advantage.
What I'd like to see, they're going to be recalling. What I would like to see, if you're Nova, your mid lane is going to be pushing. Your minions are stronger. You have those buffed up minions. Go up towards the top lane. Go towards the side where Blackclaw is. If the moment you see Tilt Rehab start up Ghostwing, if they decide to go that way, you either immediately start Blackclaw or start shoving in that top lane. Force the members of Tilt Rehab to after answer you. Nova are actually the ones that are in control right now. They can dictate where this fight happens, but they're going in onto Ali Peterson. Here comes Esme. Big Solar Storm will nearly take out Eco, but he gets himself out for now. Can they continue to escape? Eco will fall. Archaic chases him down. Truth is in trouble, but he's going to find a kill before he falls, making that a 1-for-1 thus far.
Archaic.
Truth is actually out of there now. It's going to be the kill onto Tony, so Delphi will be the one to fall. Truth still just kiting, still trying to chase away by Archaic with that movement speed increase, and Maokai using the ultimate on his teammate to get closer to Truth and take him down. An excellent play there by Tilt Rehab, and they find 3-for-1.
If it wasn't for the fact that both top and bottom lanes had pushed all the way up, this would be an easy Blackclaw by now. It looks like they're finally starting Blackclaw here, but it was a little bit delayed, and that's actually going to favor Nova Esports. They'll all be on the map by the time Blackclaw is captured, so they're not out of this one yet. But a really good fight by Tilt Rehab. It's important to note that the way they engaged and focused on trying to make sure they can take out Delphi really fast. Truth, those are those two players they've just absolutely been decimated from. They have to definitely focus on them. It's an important Truth.
Erica Kane has to be careful here. They know that he's there. He knows that they're doing Blackclaw, but I don't know if he's been able to see the health of Blackclaw. Finally, they get the scout cam over the wall. They know where it's at, but it's just too late. They can't get in to try and steal it. Blackclaw unleashed for Tilt Rehab. Are they going to go and try and push with Blackclaw? Are they going to try and split push? It looks like they're going to go for a 4-1. They need to clear out the minions that are getting onto their Vein Crystal. So they're actually not pushing with Blackclaw. This is a big mistake in my eyes. Like, if you push with Blackclaw, you win that fight, you win the game. The minions in your base won't matter, but they just felt like they had to clear that out. Blackclaw is going to get 1, maybe 2 hits onto this turret before it goes down.
Oh, they don't even get the turret.
Nothing off the Blackclaw.
That's a huge gold swing back over to Nova, who had been behind in gold almost the entire game. They're still behind, but at this point, you're so late, it's not a big deal. One thing that's interesting, I don't know if this is a bug on our screen, Eco's still level 10. He's been level 10 for a while. It looks like...
I don't know if it's a bug.
Right,
He's
going up. There you go.
Yeah.
He's level
11 now. He's just been very far behind. I mean, before when everyone else had the level 12 infusions, he only had a level 9.
Yeah, he was.
But it hasn't really been affecting Eco that much. He's the tank of this team. He's the one that's eating up the damage. Lance is mostly about getting himself those items. It's not really about the levels. It is very strange to see him that low level, but it hasn't really been a major issue.
Well, I think it's impressive that even being behind in gold and in levels on your support, you're still able to win some of these fights. So I think as the balance, as we get later, I think it's surprising even at 25 minutes he's not 12 yet, but when he does get to 12, it increases all his base stats. So it just makes him a little bit more tanky, and that's going to matter. Now, we're at the point where the Ghostwing buff is active. It's going to wear off in a few minutes or less than a minute. When we get to that point, the question is, can Rehab do something? They need to engage. They should have engaged the fight already. Now they're looking to push down this turret, but this is a fight that Nova can actually still manage and maybe
not right now.
win.
They can't. They do not have starting all over with them. He's in the bottom lane. It looks like Tilt Rehab, they want to just go finish off that mid turret. I like the decision there. They knew that it was low. They want to take that out. Now Nova has to clear out those minions top. They're rotating on bottom.
Forward.
They're just rotating around members of Nova. Truth has to get his way down there.
Good block by starting all over. He had to. He was caught pretty far forward. If he had gotten stunned up, Rehab could have just collapsed upon him. So, again, very passive push by Rehab. They do get a turret, but they didn't really push anywhere aggressively across the map. They just kind of walked the perimeter and then just walked away.
Yeah, they got a little bit of damage on the bottom turret. They did take out the mid turret, but again, that mid lane still going to be pushing in favor of Nova because the armory is down. We are now up to 26 minutes in this game, Dragonborn, a marathon to close out the day. These players don't want the preseason week 1 to end as we are going the distance here, as you mentioned, but this is anyone's game at this point. We are late enough in this game where the team fights can go either way. The builds are pretty much full, but I want to point out Delphi's build Delphi has almost no damage in his build. The only damage he has is off a Stormcrown, which does nothing to heroes. He is purely looking for the utility, the tankiness, the defensiveness, and just being a nuisance in the middle of these team fights. And here we go, Nova shoving in mid, forcing the recalls out of Tilt Rehab. They're going to be able to get there to answer them. Are they going to look for a team fight is the question. Obviously, you have the Vayne Crystal with its defenses. Still going to be throwing out some missiles, still going to be throwing out the barrage.
Both teams not really looking to commit to this just yet. Blackclaw's back on the map.
Ghostwing is about to be back on the map in like 2 seconds. There it is. Ghostwing has landed, so both objectives now back up.
And this is officially the longest match of the preseason.
Yeah.
As I think the last match in Europe that did go pretty long was 26 minutes and change. This is now 27. And this is a kind of like unmapped area of like at this game where we've never really seen games go this late.
They see Blackfeather is in the top lane and Tilt Rehab immediately capitalizing on the numbers advantage.
This is really smart.
Again, a couple of missteps from Nova, and I think they need to be focusing more on the top side of the map than they should be on the bottom, but they're going in for a fight anyway. They let Ghostwing do a bit of damage, and they're trying to go in there, getting S-Spy very low, but are they going to be able to take him out? It doesn't look like it just yet. That red mist is just burning on through. They find the kill onto Truth. He has dropped. They do take Esme out eventually. Starting all over, very healthy. Will find Sino, and now it is 2-1. Thus far, they're still looking for Maokai on this Idris, trying to dance around. They take down the Blackfeather. It's 2 for 2. Make that a 3 for 2 in favor of Tilt Rehab.
This is so
starting all over very low. Starting all over is no longer in the Drifting Dark. He got pulled out of it. He can't get back to the Drifting Dark. Throws the Oblivion. Puts one member to sleep. Snipes past the sleeping Ali Peterson and takes out another kill. Starting all over is playing out of his mind, but Ali Peterson's looking to make the plays 2-on-1. Finds one. This is a Turnwalker solo against 2 members. Finds the kills. Archaic can't hit, but he has the movement speed, and he will find the kill. But they still, I don't know if they have enough with 2 members, and the respawns are going to be coming through. They can't look to try and push into the base or end the game. There's a lot of minis top lane. I think that should be their call, but instead they're going to start Blackclaw.
They were pretty far. This is where teleport boots really comes in handy if you had vision down there or something. They have nothing. They can't move in. So Vox is up. He's going to clear the lane. I mean, Blackclaw could end it for them right now, but this is going to take them so long to secure Blackclaw. You're going to have 3 members up from Nova. I mean, they could look to come in and steal this even. So it's a very risky play for the side of Tilt Rehab. I mean, I don't think it's that risky just because you see how durable they are. You see how long they can last. There's teleport boots in. They now have 3 members there. But look at how many members of Tilt Rehab are up now. They can make their way there, and they will have numbers advantage. Another teleport boots in. We're so late in the game that they're selling their boots to buy teleport boots. The fight is on for Blackclaw. It will be secured by the members of Tilt Rehab. And with only having the armory there, they need to push with this Blackclaw or push the top lane. One of the two. Ignore everything else and just push for this win. Let's see.
Find a kill if you can. That'd be just gravy. But if you put the pressure on, just prevent Nova from getting this damage onto the Blackclaw.
Esme rotating up the top.
Rotating up. He's going to try and rotate around. He wants to go for that armory. As long as you get in range, the armory's barrier is gone. Esme's just looking to drag members away from the Blackclaw. Blacklaw's already about halfway down. Nova going to be looking to try and clean that one out. Tilt Rehab, you need to go instead. They
Huge
just let
Oblivion,
Blackclaw
by
go
the
down.
way.
Great Oblivion from starting all over. And the fight is on. They're going in deep. They're looking to try and get the kill on to Archaic. He's so low, but he gets out on the backside. A big stun connects onto Delphi, but he's so durable. He's going to bada bing Sino, but no one can follow up. That's the problem. He's going to be traded. But they have so much damage now with Truth. Truth is untouched in this fight. Esme trying to do what he can, but it's not going to be enough. And Nova Esports have cleaned up the fight. They take down Tilt Rehab. They have a vulnerable Vayne Crystal, and they will end this 30-minute marathon of a game.
You got to focus down Truth there. 25 stacks. He's just going to outscale you, and he's got some lifesteal as well. Tasty, what an incredible comeback from Nova.
Absolutely amazing, managing to turn that game around. It looked at around the 9 to 10 minute mark like this game was going to be ending in favor of the side of Tilt Rehab within the next 5 to 8 minutes. And instead, it goes for an additional 20. And Nova Esports turn it around and take themselves the victory.